paradigms, we talked about how necessary they were, but another way to say that is that paradigms are the digestive enzymes of our consciousness as we eat experience.
Wow, I never heard you say that. Cool.
Yeah.
Digestive enzymes. The governing dynamic by which we digest reality.
Exactly right. Oh, that's even better. Save that for yourself there and own that one, bud. And it's important because every moment we are conscious, we're eating experience.
Yeah.
And without a paradigm or a worldview based on certain sets of assumptions and all sorts of value systems, and we're not going to be able to orient to all the experience we're eating every moment. So if you understand paradigms as the digestive enzymes of the way we process reality, you can understand better why paradigms are inescapable and necessary. And that's where we can lift off here.
But even digesting, if you pardon the redundancy there, digesting that idea of that our paradigms are how we're digesting reality causes... a person to take that in would have to accept that they're distorting reality, that they're not experiencing reality purely as it is. That's a premise you have to accept before you can accept that paradigmatic assertion, which is, I think, the primary thing. Like, people say, well, I see this and I observe that and I think that, and that's the way it is. Actually, no, there's a mechanism in there, like we talked about last time, where that goes 9 times, that goes from your general assumption about the cosmology and cosmogony of the universe that you may not even be aware of, that then flows all the way down to that's good or bad, and this is what I need to do about it.
Yes.
And
yes.
That takes a lot of self-awareness and willingness to look for people to be able to do.
And that's not so plentiful in our troubled world right now. But what we just said, though, such a beautiful example. The converse or inverse, I always get those two. I'm a little dyslexic, so I can't remember. But it's also true that when non-dualists, enlightened non-dualists, claim they're beyond all paradigms, because what they say is paradigms are mentalized. They'd say that. And the mental body is where the I is falsely constructed. When you lose the I, you lose any paradigmatic distortions and see reality, experience reality most purely. And that's why, even though they've got eightfold path and 3 essence of existence, the 3, what did you call anatta?
4 noble truths. There's many
4
lists.
noble truths. That's a paradigm there. As soon as you have an assumption and a value system, but they say they're beyond it when they enlighten, and that would be true if the only I resided in the mental body. If you transcend the I in the mental body, you are beyond paradigms. But that's a very unsophisticated axial age religious or spiritual point of view, because there's a lot more going on in the mental body than just the I and the focus on the I. It's collating experience according to its prior experience. So no one ever lives in the present. They always live in the past, trying to create a new future, because everything that if you say someone shows you a toy that looks like a yo-yo, you say, oh, is that a kind of a yo-yo? Instead of seeing that new toy completely with no framework around it, you see? So this gets, when we talk about non-duality and enlightenment, which is the next series soon coming, we'll talk more about this. But it's the same error. Either you have to be either hyper aware of that you have a paradigm, or on the other side of the universe, when I don't have a paradigm at all. Both those extremes are equivalently distortive.
I want to make sure I get this. You're saying that the soul level I still exists inside a paradigm, or operates with a paradigm
effortlessly. Because it's experience and everything's learning. And we learn, as we'll get to in a moment here, which kind of paradigmatic is pro-soul I and which kind of paradigm is anti-soul I.
So in other words, like in non-dual traditions, they hold it that you can arrive at a non-conditioned I and then be that. And that's actually the goal.
Yes.
Right? And identity would say there's no such thing as a non-conditioned I. You can be meta to your conditioning, but that pure, true soul I is subject to conditioning and that it's unavoidable.
Absolutely. Identity offers that we can, what really happens in enlightenment is that a person is reconditioned from slavery to dualism, reconditioned to a liberation from the slavery to dualism. Those are both very conditionally shaped spaces. One is smaller than the other. One is slavery. The other is liberation on the meta. But we can go meta conditioning, but we will always fall back to that meta conditioning. A meta conditioned moment will become a reconditioned moment, and now you have more consciousness oxygen after that happens. See,
so you're meta to your conditioning, but not devoid of it. As evidenced by, you have a preference, chocolate versus vanilla.
Sure.
And so the traditional enlightened person would say, well, that's just an arising preference in the moment. It actually has nothing to do with me because I, on some essential level, don't prefer vanilla or chocolate. It's just in this moment, vanilla seems more appealing, but it's not me.
Yes.
And we would say, no, somewhere in there that's coming from you or related to you.
Yeah, that's exactly accurate. That's well said. But this is the world of conditions. Everything is conditionable, even consciousness. And I can completely personally attest, which would show up in Dayglow Orange for a non-dual enlightened person.
You'd be dismissed as
oh yes. So I just want to say that up front. I can personally attest that going meta to the slavery to dualism changed my life irrevocably. And just like they claim enlightenment changes your life irrevocably, but identity would offer that changes irrevocable change is a completely different consciousness bandwidths to it than what we've been offered by Far Eastern esotericism for so long.